BTS's Jungkook name is back in the center of international public attention. This time it was not because of his spectacular stage performance, nor because of his world record-breaking musical achievements. The Golden Maknae actually made a splash after his appearance in a popular podcast in the United States, which immediately became a hot discussion on various social media. The podcast's video snippets spread very quickly. Within hours, footage of Jungkook's interview went viral on X, TikTok, Instagram, to various ARMY communities around the world. Not without reason. In the podcast, Jungkook looks much more open than usual when discussing personal life, especially about love and the mysterious woman who sat next to him during the interview session. The moment suddenly made the fans excited. Many admitted that they were surprised, curious. Not a few even cried with emotion after hearing the sincere confession of the 28-year-old idol. Podcasts that changed the world. Since BTS entered a new chapter in their career journey, the members have been seen increasingly appearing in various international events. But Jungkook's appearance in this American podcast feels different. Jungkook is usually known as a person who is quite careful when talking about his personal life. He often discusses his music, creative process, career journey, as well as his special relationship with fans. But this time the interview turned out to be much more personal. The host began asking how Jungkook views love after years of living as one of the biggest stars in the world. The question made Jungkook smile before finally answering in a very calm tone. According to Jungkook, love is not just about romantic relationships. For him, love is something much broader and deeper. He explains that love can be found in family, friendship, music, and people who always support him in any circumstances. That simple answer instantly made the atmosphere of the podcast more emotional. A gaze in the spotlight. What made fans even more curious was the presence of a woman sitting not far from Jungkook during the podcast. The woman didn't talk much. He smiled occasionally and watched the conversation unfold. But it was precisely because of his calm demeanor that the public began to wonder. Who exactly is this woman? Why would he be there? Is he part of the production team? Or is it someone who has a special relationship with Jungkook? Question after question instantly filled social media. Many fans try to analyze every detail visible in the video. Some pay attention to Jungkook's expression when talking, others try to find the identity of the mysterious woman. In a short time, various theories emerged. The confession that left the ARMY speechless. The peak of the excitement occurred when the host again touched on love. This time, Jungkook gave a much more in-depth answer. He admitted that in his life there are many people who teach the meaning of love in different ways. According to him, love is not something that should always be announced to the world. Sometimes love comes in the form of tacit support, simple attention, and the presence of someone who stays by our side when things get tough. The sentence immediately made the atmosphere quiet. Many fans said they were touched that Jungkook spoke so sincerely. Some even mentioned that they had never seen Jungkook so candid in an international interview. Not a few soldiers admitted to crying after hearing his statement. For them, Jungkook, who has always looked strong and full of energy, finally showed an emotional side that is rarely shown to the public. Who is the mysterious woman? After the podcast ended, the focus of public attention immediately fell on the figure of a woman sitting next to Jungkook. Various speculations began to emerge. Some suspect the woman was a professional staff member working on Jungkook's international projects. Others suspect he is a translator or a creative consultant involved in the podcast production process. But until now, there is no official confirmation that the woman has a romantic relationship with Jungkook. In fact, most of the information circulating is still guesses and interpretations from netizens. However, this did not stop the curiosity of the fans. The hashtag Mystery Woman was trending in several countries just hours after the podcast was released. Fan reactions around the world. ARMY is known as one of the largest and most active fandoms in the world. Therefore, it is not surprising that the podcast immediately became the main topic on various platforms. Many fans gave their full support to Jungkook. They judged that as an ordinary human being, Jungkook has the right to have his own personal life and happiness. On the other hand, there are also fans who claim to be emotional because they feel the idol is now getting older. Some of the comments that went viral mentioned that they grew up together with Jungkook since BTS's debut. Seeing her talk about love in such a mature way makes a lot of people feel haru. It was like watching my sister grow up. I didn't cry because of the woman. I cried because Jungkook sounded so sincere. He looks calmer and happier. Such comments flooded social media. Jungkook's rarely seen mature side. For years, Jungkook has been known as the Maknae of BTS, who is energetic, full of spirit, and often makes fans laugh through his funny behavior. But over time, the public began to see another side of him. In recent interviews, Jungkook has seemed more reflective and more comfortable discussing his life's journey. It's no longer just about success. He also began to discuss the pressures, struggles, and lessons learned during his years under the world spotlight. The American podcast became one of the clearest examples of that change. Many fans think that Jungkook now looks much more mature than a few years ago. Is there a special relationship? This is a question that until now still meets the comment columns of various platforms. But it is important to remember that until now there is no evidence or official statement that indicates that the mysterious woman is Jungkook's partner. Most of the theories that circulate only come from netizen speculation. Even some fans remind the public not to rush to conclude something without clear facts. They expect Jungkook's privacy to be respected. After all, every individual has the right to keep his personal life. Why is Jungkook's confession so touching? The answer may be honesty. In the midst of an entertainment world that is often filled with imagery and controversy, fans saw the figure of Jungkook who spoke very sincerely about the meaning of love. He didn't give a dramatic answer. He is not trying to create a sensation. Instead, he speaks calmly about the people who matter in his life. Simplicity is what touches the hearts of many people. The ARMY felt that they were listening to an ordinary human being who happened to be a global superstar. And maybe that's why so many fans admitted to crying after watching the podcast. A podcast that will continue to be talked about. Although the podcast has ended, the discussion is far from over. Interview footage continues to circulate. Analysis after analysis continues to emerge. While the identity of the mysterious woman is still an unsolved puzzle. But one thing is for sure, Jungkook's appearance in the American podcast managed to show a different side of himself. He showed maturity, sincerity, and a deeper view of life and love. And for many ARMYs, that's the most valuable part of it all. Regardless of who exactly is the woman sitting next to him, the moment has become one of the biggest talks among BTS fans. Not because of rumors or hype alone, but because Jungkook managed to touch the hearts of millions of people with simple words full of meaning. Now fans can only wait if someday the mystery will be revealed. Until then, this American podcast featuring Jungkook will likely continue to be remembered as one of ARMY's most emotional and talked about interviews around the world. Unstoppable wave of reaction. It would not be an exaggeration to say that the podcast has become one of the most hot topics among the ARMY in recent days. Even a few hours after it aired, a video clip of Jungkook's interview had been viewed millions of times on various social media platforms. Interestingly, most fans did not focus too much on the rumors circulating about the mysterious woman. Many are paying more attention to the change in the way Jungkook speaks, which is considered much more mature than before. On several occasions, Jungkook was seen thinking for a moment before answering a question. He chose his words carefully and spoke in a calm tone. That attitude makes many people feel that the idol has gone through a long journey that has shaped him into a more mature person. He sounds like someone who already understands life better, wrote one fan. Similar comments keep popping up. Many said they were surprised at how deeply Jungkook thought about happiness, relationships, and the meaning of the existence of the closest people in his life. From BTS Maknae to mature man. For longtime BTS fans, this moment feels very emotional. Jungkook debuted at a very young age. Over the years, ARMY watched how he grew from a shy teenager to one of the most influential artists in the world. For this reason, when Jungkook talks about love and life in such a mature way, many fans feel as if they're looking at a new chapter in his life journey. Some even recalled the early days of BTS's debut, when Jungkook often looked shy when interviewed. He smiles more often or gives short answers. Now the situation is completely different. Jungkook was able to convey his thoughts clearly, confidently, and meaningfully. The change touched many soldiers. They feel like they have been witnessing someone's incredible growth process for more than a decade. Body language in the spotlight. In addition to Jungkook's emotional answers, many fans also noticed his body language throughout the podcast. Some footage showed Jungkook smiling slightly as the host discussed human relationships. At other moments, he seemed to stare down for a moment before giving a fairly personal answer. For some fans, the expression suggests that he really thinks about every word he says. Of course, as usual, various theories began to emerge. Some interpreted the expression as a sign that Jungkook was remembering someone important in his life. But many also remind that a person's expression cannot be used as evidence of a certain relationship. Even so, discussions regarding Jungkook's body language continue to be an interesting topic among fans. Mysterious woman who sparks curiosity. The figure of a woman sitting near Jungkook is indeed one of the most discussed elements. Some netizens try to trace his background. Some thought he was a member of the creative team. Some say he might be a producer. There are also those who think that his presence is only part of the concept of the podcast. But until now, there is no official information that explains his identity in detail. Therefore, many fans prefer not to believe the rumors. They assert that speculation without evidence will only lead to misunderstanding. This stance has broad support from the ARMY community, which has been known to be quite active in countering unverified information. A confession that makes many reflect. One of the reasons this interview was so memorable was because Jungkook's words felt relevant to so many people. When it comes to love, he doesn't describe it as perfect. Instead, he explains that love often comes in simple, sometimes unconscious forms. According to him, a person can feel love through small cares, support in the face of difficulties, or the presence of people who are always there when needed. The view received a lot of praise. Not a few viewers who claimed to feel touched because the words reminded them of family, friends, and the closest people in everyday life. Some even say that the interview helped them see love from a different point of view. ARMY and emotional relationship with Jungkook. One of the things that makes BTS so beloved is the strong emotional connection between the members and their fans. Over the years, Jungkook has always shown great gratitude to the ARMY. On various occasions, he has often said that fan support gives him the strength to move on. Therefore, when Jungkook talks about the people who gave meaning to his life, many soldiers feel part of the story. Of course, not in a romantic context, but as a group that has accompanied his career journey since the beginning. It was that feeling that made many fans cry when they heard her interview. They feel valued. They feel that the relationship established over the years has never been underestimated by the idol. Jungkook's continued popularity worldwide. The podcast also shows how much influence Jungkook has on a global level. Not every artist is able to make an interview into an international conversation in just a matter of hours. But Jungkook did it easily. Media from various countries began to report footage of the podcast. Jungkook's name is again a trending topic in a number of regions. Even many people who were previously not fans of BTS watched the interview because they were curious about the furor that occurred. The phenomenon once again proves that Jungkook is not just a famous singer. He has developed into a global figure capable of attracting public attention across countries and generations. Why is the public always interested in idols' personal life? This question came up again after the podcast went viral. As one of the biggest stars in the world, Jungkook's personal life has always been a concern. Many people are curious about who his close friends are, how his daily life is, to what his views are on relationships and the future. But on the other hand, many fans also remind the importance of respecting privacy boundaries. They believe that Jungkook has the right to decide for himself which part of his life he wants to share with the public. That view is increasingly supported by the international fan community. They hope the discussion around the podcast will focus on Jungkook's positive message, not just speculation about his personal life. Moments the ARMY will remember. Every BTS fan must have a favorite moment that will never be forgotten. For some, it may be the first concert they watch. For others, it may be a particular song that helps them get through a difficult time. Now, many in the ARMY say that Jungkook's podcast in America will be one of those moments that they will remember for a long time. Not because of rumors of mysterious women, not because of speculation, except that they see the human side of Jungkook, who is so sincere and what he is. Despite his status as a global superstar, Jungkook is still someone who values love, relationships, and the people who support him. It is that simple message that seems to have managed to touch the hearts of millions of people around the world, waiting for the continuation of the story. To this day, the discussion about the podcast is still ongoing. Every day, new theories, new analyses, and various interpretations of the fans appear. But in the midst of it all, one thing remains unchanged. Jungkook managed to create a moment that made many people pause and reflect on the meaning of love in their own lives. Will the identity of the mysterious woman one day be revealed? No one knows yet. Will the public keep talking about it? Most likely yes. But despite all that curiosity, a lot of ARMY felt that the most important thing about the podcast wasn't who sat next to Jungkook. The most memorable is how Jungkook shows sincerity, maturity, and an emotional side that is rarely seen in public. And perhaps that is why the interview made such an impression on the hearts of millions of fans around the world.